Alright, 2 minutes after finishing recording yesterday's video, I realised I did have one comic with Wonder Man's Christmas tree costume, and it is this one. This is issue 4 of the Satan miniseries that Marvel did, which I have a weird affection for, even though plot-wise it is a total shambles. Satan wants Thor's soul. That is the crux of this issue. But how we got to that point over the course of the series is bona fide nonsensical. I reviewed issue 1 a while ago, and issue 1 I am legitimately positive towards. That one is a lot of fun. Even issue 2 is fine, but issue 3 is awful. And this issue is mainly hurt by its wonky plot. Satan has had a very arduous plan, which started with getting Invisible Wife's soul, and then swapping it for the soul of Phoenix, and then getting rid of that for a bunch of Excellent Men's souls, which you will see in here. But all of this was to nothing, because Satan, he wants Thor's soul now. Then the tribunal shows up to suggest that this little power play has some importance, or it will be more impactful than it is. Another thing is that Satan's realm is falling apart. It is shrinking. This would have been a great hook for the first issue. The borders of hell are decaying. But 4 issues in, this is the first real mention of it. So, the soul that Satan seeks is Thor. And he wants Thor's soul so that he can expand his own purview of the dead and encroach into Kate Blanchett's domain by intercepting a soul destined for her hell, like she had done with some human souls in Simon Waltinson's forerun. I think one of the problems with the plotting of this mini-series is that this final issue pulls out a story that was worth expanding on, a little event that could warrant a mini-series, with Satan sort of gunning the war with Kate Blanchett. But instead, we had 3 issues of pointless superhero fights with a very loose shaggy dog plot, and then the 4th issue starts dumping us with all this story. Satan finds Thor weakened and defeated after a battle in his series, and he transports him to hell. And then the Avengers get involved, both the East Coast and West Coast teams. This last issue, it ties in a lot with Simon Waltinson's Thor. The Avengers are here because they were responding to Thor's call to arms against the big dragon thing that wound up beating them. And so the Avengers find Thor missing and a gateway to hell open. So they gone into it. Here we have a little hint of that better story with Cate Blanchett confronting Satan. But there is also some absolutely garbage stuff. I think some failed satire comparing Satan's acquisition of souls to comic book collectors slabbing comics, because Satan, he preserves Thor's soul in mystic Milo. Really, the plot, which suddenly has grander ambitions this issue, is a flat line. It could have worked, but it's too much of a last-minute swerve. And even in this issue, it is drowned out by what is the real focus of the series. Some superhero fights. We have She-Hulks. She gets beaten. We have Captain Marbles, the real one, Monica Rambeau. She gets beaten. We have Iron Man. He gets beaten. And down here is Wonder Man in what is generally considered to be his worst costume. And Wonder Man gets beaten. But of all the fights, Wonder Man seems to get some actual characterization. But even that stinks, because he is written as if the last couple of years of comics never happened. And he is still afraid of dying and his own mortality. All these fights accomplish nothing. They shouldn't accomplish anything, really. Satan is way beyond them in terms of power. The only ones who are really of any use in this battle would be Thor, who is incapacitated, and maybe Wonder Man at a push, but he was quickly dealt with anyway. Maybe Hercules Man could do something, but they didn't invite him. So then we get back to our bogus plot, and Satan tries to conquer Thor's soul, and then tries to seduce him with promises of babes. And that is obviously where Satan would get me. I am a sucker for babes. My soul is not that important if it's what stands between me and January Jones. But Thor is a hero, so he rejects Satan's lures. And I suppose we get a tiny bit of what could be considered a Thor versus Satan fight. There was a Silver Age issue, I think, where we got to see a more drawn-out fight with the two of them. Anyway, the plot is pretty much over. Thor said no, so Satan cannot take his soul, and now it doesn't matter anymore. The tribunal arrives to bookend the story and pretend that something noteworthy just happened. And Elle isn't downsizing anymore because of reasons. Satan explains them all to the tribunal here, but I'm not going to waste time repeating them. The greatest strength of this miniseries is the art, obviously. This is Sal Buscema, that is John Buscema's brother, who penciled the Silver Surfman issue that introduced Satan. And here he is looking evil and laughing. I didn't recommend this, but it does feel amazing. This has high quality paper. I almost want to recommend it just for how nice it feels. But instead, I will recommend the first issue. That one was an entertaining Fantastic Four story, whereas this one is a mess of ideas and guest stars. I will give this a backmasked 7 thumbs up.